Nicole Garcia, and I'm a student fellow at the National Disability Center. I'm a mechanical engineering undergraduate at UT Austin, and at NDCSS, I'm currently focusing on accessibility in higher education, specifically how disabled students experience classes, campus, and accommodations.
And I'm Dr. Earl Huff Jr. I'm a faculty cadre member at the National Disability Center. I'm also an assistant professor in the School of Information, where I do research at the intersection of accessibility, computing education, and artificial intelligence. So at the center, I serve as Nicole's mentor as we explore this intersection with accessibility and STEM education.
Yeah, so I heard about the center through the engineering department, actually. I applied and I was really excited to join. What drew me to the center really was my courses and my own experience as a disabled undergraduate, and my experience in accessibility and technology about what was making things accessible versus not. And I really wanted to participate in education research to improve student experiences.
Yeah, so I joined the center because I was actually being mentored by Dr. Stephanie Cawthon, who is the director for the National Disability Center. And during its conception, she had asked if I would be interested in serving as a part of the faculty cadre with the opportunity to mentor students as they're getting deep into research in terms of accessibility in higher education. And as someone who has benefited greatly from mentorship and always look forward to mentoring other people, especially students, I jumped on the opportunity.
Yes, the mentorship here has been really helpful, especially I guess I'd previously had some STEM mentorship specifically in the engineering department, and that had more so focused on like STEM specific things such as like data and research that goes on within engineering, and academic opportunities, I guess, within engineering. But NDCSS mentorship has been amazing as well because it focuses or adds more of the like people and how that mixes into STEM accessibility.
So with mentorship, especially within the National Disability Center, it was kind of an interesting opportunity because I've had opportunities before mentoring students from different disciplines, not so much engineering. I come from a computer science background, but there are notable differences between that and like engineering. So working with someone from a more, I guess, drastically different field presented some opportunities to learn from Nicole's perspective on what accessibility looked like and what she was interested in exploring.
Yeah, that was really helpful at the beginning as well. I do remember I brought to you a lot of questions about your journey, your academic journey, and what brought you to NDCSS and UT. And it was really helpful for me to talk about that with you, as well as NDCSS work, like the campus accessibility measure and the faculty accessibility measure. I really appreciated how I could have a space to talk about those and the research findings.
Certainly. And it was interesting and refreshing to have so many questions and be able to answer and really use kind of my story, my upbringing in the academic space to kind of show like where I come from and the perspective that I bring to the mentorship. It was also great to see, what you brought and what your mindset was in terms of the work that was being done at the National Disability Center. You asked a lot about the questionnaire that was being developed, the evaluation tool, and how certain things were measured, and what led to the actual construction of the instrument that was eventually used nationally to get the data that we have now published since then. So it's kind of a good back and forth and just a reminder to myself of why, I wanted to go into academia, for the idea to share my experiences and knowledge and, help those that are interested in similar interests really get a grasp of what it's like from that perspective.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I do remember we talked about the statistics and the actual like data behind how those results were achieved. And you did introduce me a lot into the qualitative research, how that is done, and how those outcomes are achieved. So that was really helpful to learn.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. It was some work that I myself have done with different projects, so it's kind of really reeling back in and sort of kind of now seeing the importance of what we do and how we share those experiences with others. So I'm glad that I was able to really share a part of myself to help you see how things are. But I think it's also very important to learn about things from many different viewpoints, mine being just one of them. But I do enjoy a lot of the inquiries that you bring to our meetings.
Thank you. Yeah. I do remember how the center, we talked also about how the center focuses on education and accessibility. And I don't know if you wanted to talk about that as well. So I do remember how I talked to you a lot about how the campus accessibility measure and the faculty accessibility measure had a lot of practical implications and real higher education scenarios like group work, class setup, and the campus environment.
Yes, we did talk about that. I took the time to kind of break down the different components and why different factors were needed to measure different aspects. Because all in all, addressing accessibility in higher education is a layered process. And so we need to learn it from various different angles. And so I was kind of going over like what each of these different items within each factor was trying to address, just to kind of give an idea of what we were trying to look at from an overall campus client in terms of accessibility.
Mhm. Yeah, I really thought it was beneficial when you talked about how that is applied to what is currently happening. For example, in the iSchool, I do remember you gave me the specific example of how certain classes or programs are a lot more accessible now. For example, you mentioned a language, I think, or a way of teaching blind and visually impaired students a specific programming language.
Yes. So I was talking about different programming languages that were not accessible. And I was talking about research into one particular language called Quorum, which was designed to support learning of coding for students with vision impairments, as an example. Now, it's not an industry standard language, but it was a first step to allowing students, regardless of disabilities, to actually learn about computer programming, and kind of uh, a reflection of where we are and what we need to enable, you know, computer science for one such field to be more accessible, but even within the iSchool, how we can change the way we teach certain topics about accessibility and bring in even more topics into those courses.
Yeah, exactly. I think from that was really helpful to learn about, and I was able to, I guess, use that to reflect on my own experiences within engineering, and think more about how the what we learned from the findings could impact a lot of engineering courses and STEM education in general. And I used some of that to later work on the accessibility in higher education and STEM resource that we published in spring of last semester, actually. So it was really helpful to talk to you about those things to be able to gather, I guess, like more ideas about barriers and concrete tips as well for accessibility from faculty and students.
Absolutely. I think that's really one of the great things I like about the center and offering the opportunities for faculty and students to learn from one another and work together towards these goals. So what I look forward to in the future with the center is that we continue to work together, we continue to learn from each other and work towards these goals to help bring awareness about the state of accessibility in higher education and how we can make improvements, not just, at UT Austin, but at other institutions too, hopefully. So it's really been a joy so far, mentoring and also learning from you, Nicole.
Thank you. Yeah, and I guess for context, I didn't know if it was helpful, but for the STEM accessibility resource that we published at NDCSS last semester, so what we did there is that we reviewed a lot of faculty interviews about course structure, materials, and classroom practices, as well as student perspectives on like classroom setup and how materials are presented and ideas on universal design learning, and we analyzed it and organized it by themes about instructional level supports such as training policies, processes that reduce barriers, faculty supports such as tools that would improve accessibility, as well as mindset shifts, I guess, and the cultural aspect in different departments and how that contributes to accessibility or inaccessibility. And from there, we were able to build a resource about quick changes, checklists, and examples for higher education accessibility, specifically in STEM, which was really, the process was really amazing to go through, and I'm really happy that we were able to publish such an amazing resource for the center.
Absolutely. And I do hope that other institutions look at the data that was gathered and presented, um, and use that as a way to think about the climate of accessibility at their institution. Hopefully, we work together to come up with solutions to improve the overall accessibility for students with disabilities.
Mhm. Yeah. So I think like overall it has been really helpful and an amazing opportunity, I think, to be mentored by you. And I'm very, very glad that I got paired with you, both because I was able to learn a lot about the introduction to NDCSS, and qualitative research, but also learn about your lived experience and your journey through academia.
Yes, it was likewise been a pleasure to learn from you as well, and just from your experience and from the engineering side of things. So I look forward to continuing to learn.
Thank you.
Thank you.